Martin Lawrence versus Chris Tucker. That was the original pitch for this movie before they got replaced with Chris Pine and Tom Hardy. It's day 153 of 365. Today's movie, This Means War. Patreon.com/TicketStub Movie Club is your date tonight. Jump over there and check out my movie club where we have these videos come out a day early, as well as monthly deep dives, my whole book, and a bunch of other cool stuff. This one's directed by McG, who also directed Terminator Salvation, which is in this film club list. And it stars Reese Witherspoon, Chris Pine, and Tom Hardy in what might be the cheesiest movie of 2012. This little action rom-com came and went. Not many people remember it, even though it has all the star power it needs. It didn't stay in the zeitgeist, I think. If you ask me why, I think the reason is that two men using CIA assets to recon this poor woman is probably not the best idea overall for a movie. It reminds me of those late 90s Eddie Murphy movie premises. They're just a little too crazy, and that's what made them work, because you pair that with a really crazy lead actor and it can work. And like I said at the top, the original pitch for the leads in this probably could have made this work a little bit better. The fact that they use CIA money and assets to pull all this off also is never talked about at the end of the movie. There's no consequences for those actions. So as the audience, we're meant to not just watch it, but also swallow that nothing happens because of it. That's just maybe a bridge too far. That point also stands because this movie went into production in 1998 and didn't come out until 2012. That's nuts, if you ask me. Revisiting in 2025, and this thing is cheesy. This is just a cheesy fucking movie, and I don't hate it for that. There's actually a bunch of stuff in this that I do really like, so let's talk about the three things that I enjoyed about This Means War. The first thing that I really like about this movie are the casting of Chris Pine and Tom Hardy as Tuck and FDR. Now, I'm not saying they were better than the casting originally of Chris Tucker and Martin Lawrence, but they do work really well together. They have genuine on-screen chemistry, and that actually becomes maybe one of my issues with the movie, that they have more chemistry with each other than either one of them do with Reese Witherspoon. Witherspoon has more chemistry with Chelsea Handler, I think, in this movie than she does with either of the two guys. It almost feels like they are in two separate movies, like they've combined a real rom-com and a real action movie and then just cut the footage together. If it weren't for the fact that the plot is informing us that these guys are doing recon on this situation and going to war with each other in their dating lives, I don't know if either half of the genres that this movie shares is really telling us that they get along at any point. It's like the action movie parts work super well as a buddy comedy between the two of them, and then the rom-com parts make absolute sense as they are, with Reese Witherspoon having to go talk to someone about the issues in her dating life, and then anytime they start to bleed together, it becomes this weird mess. I'm gonna call it kind of like when you combine red wine and white wine. Some people are really into that pairing and some people just want the things on their own. I totally get both angles, but I think I'm learning across this series that I just really like weird, and so I kind of dig the odd dissonance that we're getting between the two of them. The second thing that I dug about this movie actually wasn't the war part of This Means War. It's the recon. I think the funniest bits in the movie happen in just the end of the first act into the second act, where they're doing recon on Reese Witherspoon's life, and their investigations kind of merge into each other. This leads to a sequence where they're learning things about each other to hilarious effect, and there's nothing funnier than two guys laughing at each other inside of the back of a CIA information van, or I guess it was their headquarters, or I'm not exactly sure. The scene geography wasn't super important as it was to show off that these guys were learning hilariously embarrassing things about each other. Hearing a woman's opinion of them firsthand, unfiltered, is just a really funny setup that I wish the movie had done more with it. Honestly, we could have used that scene once at the beginning, and then later on we could have used a second one where she's learned more about these guys and maybe they've evolved as people. Character development is something that's baked into this movie, and it does it pretty good, at least for the two guys. So I would have enjoyed seeing them learn to grow because of each other. Maybe they adopt some of each other's personality traits to help them become more well-rounded as people. I don't know. I feel like this bit was my favorite when I was watching the movie, more so than the war part or even the action sequences or the setup. The third and final thing that I really dig about this movie is the action. It's super competent. That's probably why McG is here. Like I mentioned at the top, he did just do a Terminator movie, so this is something he's able to do competently. And honestly, that's a tough tightrope walk to walk when you're mixing action with a rom-com and also making the action work to a degree that it feels like a real action movie. This doesn't feel like a Disney-fied, over-the-top action. This feels like really cool spy action stuff. And then there's a bunch of scenes of like rom-com stuff. He's able to jump between the two really, really well. And honestly, I think, like I said in the first point, the only thing that really hurt this movie is that there's more chemistry between Pine and Hardy than there is between Pine or Hardy with Reese Witherspoon. She's like off in her own little world for a lot of this, and maybe that was just a tough pill to swallow. The opening sequence is excellent. Like, it lets you know this is an action movie. We end on a cool action LA set piece, which has a bridge in it. I don't know why I really love bridge highway sequences in action movies. I think just because I've spent so much time driving around my life that it just feels like home to me. So anytime I see a scene like that, it feels like they're doing an action sequence in my house. But yeah, overall, this one's kind of forgettable, even though the premise and the delivery are really good. It's just like a weird little movie from the time. But what did you think? Are you a fan of This Means War? Did you skip this one entirely? We're going to keep the buddy movie theme going, but we're going to switch from action rom-com to action comedy. Our next movie is 21 Jump Street. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow.